Today, we're taking a look at a piece of tech that might just change everything about how we log in at work. It's Linkspeed's new UID v2.0.1, and we're asking a pretty bold question. Could this finally be the end of the corporate password? Let's get into it.
So let me ask you something. Does this feel familiar? You've got one password for your email, a totally different one for the HR portal, another for your sales software, yet another for the cloud server. It's just this constant maddening juggle, right? And that brings us perfectly to our first point, what I'm calling the identity mess. We're going to break down the root of this problem that technologies like UIID are trying so desperately to solve. The technical term for this whole situation is the identity silo, or some folks even call it identity bloat. It's this idea that every single app, every website, every service demands its own separate, walled-off identity. And honestly, it's just not sustainable. I mean, just think about your own digital life. It is completely fragmented. You've got your Google account over here, your work email and apps over there. Then there's your bank, Slack, maybe an AWS console if you're in tech, plus all your personal social media. Every single one of these is its own little island with its own key, and that means it's another place where things can go wrong. So what's the answer to all this fragmentation? Well, that leads us to a really cool foundational idea, something we can think of as a digital passport. And that passport is UIID, which stands for Universal Integrated Identity. Now, the big idea here is a single unique digital identity that you and only you actually control. It's not owned by a big tech company or by your boss. It is yours. Seriously, think of it like one single passport that works for the entire digital world. And this whole digital passport idea is built on three really powerful principles. First, it's self-sovereign. That just means you own it, period. You control your data. Second, it's privacy-preserving. This is so cool. It's like being able to prove you're over 21 without actually having to show your date of birth. And third, it uses something called zero-knowledge proofs, which is a mind-bendingly clever way to prove who you are without ever sending your password or any secret info across the internet. Okay, so that all sounds fantastic for us as individuals, right? But it creates a massive headache for businesses. And this brings us to what we're calling the corporate conundrum.
And this right here is where you can see the conflict, plain as day. You, the individual, want total control, absolute privacy, and the freedom to take your identity with you wherever you go. But your company, they need the exact opposite. They need oversight and governance. They need to run security audits. And maybe most importantly, they need to be able to revoke your access the moment you walk out the door. These two worlds have always been fundamentally at odds.
Well, until now. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Let's talk about Linkspeed's solution, which is designed to finally bridge this gap. And here it is, the UIID v2.0.1 IAM Extension. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. This is Linkspeed's secret sauce. It's not just another personal identity wallet, it's a full-blown enterprise platform built specifically to solve that problem between individual freedom and corporate control. So how on earth does it work? Let's break it down. Instead of your company creating a brand new account for you, they issue what's called a verified employee badge. You can think of it like a digital work visa that lives inside your digital passport. Then they can set super specific rules, like you can only get in if your badge says senior manager and you're connected to the company Wi-Fi. But here's the best part. Offboarding. When an employee leaves, the company doesn't have to hunt down and delete accounts. They just revoke the badge. Boom. Access is gone instantly, but your personal digital passport is still yours. And the whole thing runs on a zero-trust architecture, which means every single login attempt is checked. Every time, no exceptions.
And get this isn't just some idea on a whiteboard. Linkspeed's platform already supports over 1,500 different SaaS integrations. We're talking about using this one single identity to secure everything from your company's Slack channels all the way to its core AWS cloud infrastructure. That's huge.
So where does all of this lead? Well, it leads us to our final section, the future of trust. Because what we're really witnessing here is a fundamental shift in how businesses even think about security. You know, I think this quote from the Linkspeed dev team just says it all perfectly. Our new IAM platform doesn't just manage passwords, it manages trust. The whole goal is to stop managing lists of passwords that can be hacked or stolen and to start managing verifiable, provable trust between an individual and an organization. So if you remember anything, remember this. We're moving away from managing users and toward verifying identities. It means that security is finally tied to the actual person, not to a password they wrote down on a sticky note. And, for what feels like the first time, we have a technology that combines an individual's right to their own identity with a company's absolute need for security and control.
Which, of course, brings us back to that big question from the beginning. With technology that is this secure, this verifiable, and this centered around the user, could we actually be witnessing the beginning of the end for the corporate password? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.